There are some calls that, if you answer them, you will never be the same again. That night, I only thought it was a strange phone number. I didn't know that on the other end of the line, it wasn't a human being. It didn't ask questions or make threats. It only whispered softly, as if it had been waiting for me for a very long time. And by the time I realized the truth, everything had gone too far. If you ever thought that simply turning off your phone was enough to escape, then this story will make you think again. Because there are some things that, once heard, will follow you all the way into the deepest darkness. I never thought that one day, simply because of a phone call, my life would turn in a completely different direction. A direction dark, cold, and filled with things that my rational mind, as a journalist, would never want to admit were real. That night, the villa was so silent that I could hear every beat of my own heart. Not because I was afraid of the darkness, but because the feeling of being watched clung to me like an invisible shadow. I had just pulled the curtain aside when the phone rang. The sound came too suddenly, piercing the stillness, making my hand freeze halfway. I looked down at the screen. A string of numbers appeared. No name, no photo, no information at all. I hesitated for a few seconds. After years in journalism, I was used to anonymous calls, vague threats, but this time was different. From the moment I saw those 4 numbers, a chill ran down my spine, as if someone had blown a cold breath against the back of my neck. I lifted the phone to my ear. Quote. There was no voice. Only a very faint, very distant sound, like someone crying, but not the sobbing of the living. It was a broken, strangled sound, as if the one making it had forgotten how to breathe. Hello, I'm listening, I said, my voice hoarse in a way I barely recognized. The sound on the other end suddenly stopped. Then a woman's voice came through. Very small, very vague, as if echoing from the bottom of a deep well. I'm so cold? I froze. Who are you? I asked, but the moment the question left my mouth, the line went dead. The screen went black. I stood there for a few seconds, then let out a weak laugh, trying to reassure myself that I was simply exhausted. But that laugh died instantly when I realized my hands were trembling. Only then did I remember that I needed to greet the audience. If you are listening to this story, my name is JW. Welcome to Midnight Fear Stories. And I should warn you in advance, there are stories that should never be heard at night. But if you are already listening, then perhaps you are like me. You have already stepped one foot into a world from which not everyone can turn back. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so now, not to support me, but so that you won't be alone. If one day, your phone suddenly rings in the middle of the night. I moved into this villa to get away from trouble. At least, that's what I thought. After publishing an investigation into a high-ranking official, I began receiving constant threatening phone calls. No clear words, no names, just vague insinuations, enough to rob a person of sleep. My friends advised me to lie low for a while, and so I came here. A quiet place, too quiet. After that strange call, I couldn't concentrate on my work at all. Every time my phone rang, even if it was just an advertising message, my heart tightened. I decided to change my number. The mobile provider suggested a list of new numbers. Among them, one made me pause. I don't know why I chose it. Perhaps part of me believed that if I kept avoiding my fear, it would only grow stronger. I wanted to face it, to take control. I was wrong. That very day, while I was at an art exhibition with my close friend Hodon, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I quickly switched it to silent mode, but only a few seconds later, a strange sound came from it. It wasn't a ringtone. It was a distorted, buzzing noise, as if someone were trying to produce sound through a broken device. We both turned around at the same time. Hodun's daughter, Jeong-do, was holding my phone. The child's face was stiff. Her eyes were empty. Her lips were slightly parted, as if she were whispering to someone. Jeong-do. I rushed forward and snatched the phone from her hand. In that instant, she widened her eyes, opened her mouth, and let out a piercing scream, then burst into tears as if waking from a nightmare. The phone in my hand was still emitting sound, a very faint laugh. I turned it off, but the unease did not fade. That night, I couldn't sleep. The villa was vast, the corridors long and hollow. the weak yellow lights warping everything as if in a bad dream. I heard a noise. A sob. Very faint, but enough to make my hair stand on end. I opened the bedroom door. On the bed, sat a woman. Long hair covered her face. Her shoulders trembled rhythmically, as if she had been crying for a long time. Utterly exhausted. Who are you? I stammered. She slowly raised her head. At that exact moment, I woke up. It had only been a dream. But then the phone rang again. On my computer screen, those 4 numbers appeared as well, flashing repeatedly. I shut down the computer, turned off the phone, sat there clutching my head, forcing myself to breathe. But in my ears, the shrill scream of a child was still ringing. That scream did not come from outside. It echoed directly inside my head. And at that moment, I realized one thing. I was no longer the only one hearing these calls. After that night, I no longer dared to see the phone as an inanimate object. It lay motionless on the table, yet I constantly felt as though it was watching me. Not with eyes, but with something far deeper. As if inside that cold metal shell there was a consciousness lying in wait. I decided to do what my professional instinct urged me to do: investigate. The first person I went to was Min Won, a friend who worked in the police force. I didn't tell him everything, only that I was having trouble with a strange phone number. Min Won helped me check the usage history of the number 6644. When the list appeared on the screen, I swallowed hard. Not many people had used this number, but what they all had in common made my scalp go numb. All of them were dead. Not in the same way, not at the same time, but all of them had cancelled the number for the same reason. Briefly noted as deceased. The first was a middle-aged driver. A traffic accident at night, the car losing control, with no signs of sudden braking. The second was a female office worker. She died in an elevator, yet the technical system detected no malfunction. It's probably just a coincidence, Min Won said, trying to keep his voice calm. Either they were unlucky, or he left the sentence unfinished. I knew he felt that something wasn't right either. That evening, I returned home with a heavy pressure weighing on my chest. I sat down on a chair and placed the phone in front of me. "What exactly are you?" I whispered. The screen lit up. 6644 was calling. I began to look more deeply into the 2 deaths. The driver lived alone and had no history of mental illness. But after switching to the number 6644, he often complained to colleagues that someone kept calling him at night. Saying nothing. Just breathing. And crying. On the night of the accident, he was driving through Phuong Boi Dong, a deserted road with few streetlights. According to witnesses, just before the car lost control, they saw him suddenly jerk the steering wheel, as if trying to avoid someone standing in the middle of the road. A woman. The second victim died in an elevator. She had been using the number 6644 for less than a month. Friends said she often suffered from insomnia and constantly felt as though she was being watched. She once said that whenever her phone rang, she felt as if someone was standing right behind her. That night, it was raining heavily. She received a text message. "We were born to love each other." The message was short, but it sent her into a panic. Inside the elevator, the lights flickered, the space trembled. Through the frosted glass, she saw the silhouette of a woman standing outside in the hallway. When the rescue team arrived, the elevator was completely normal. There was no woman at all. Hearing this, my throat felt dry and raw. The scattered pieces began to fit together. A woman. The phone calls. The sound of crying. And the number 6644. The name Jin Hai appeared like a cold blade slicing through my thoughts. She was the 3rd person who had used this phone number. But unlike the first 2, Jin Hai was not recorded as dead. There was only one line, missing. I went to her house. Jin Hai's mother received me with tired eyes. She said her daughter had left home some time ago, taking only a single mobile phone with her. After that, the family could no longer contact her. In the end, they had no choice but to cancel the number 6644. When I stepped into Jin Hai's room, my heart tightened. On the desk was an electronic piano. On On the wall hung unfinished sheets of music, and on the bookshelf, there was a photograph. The girl in the photo looked straight into the camera. It was the same girl I had given a lift to on that rainy night. I stood frozen. All the blood in my body seemed to congeal. If Jin Hai was truly the one who had called me, then, who was the person sitting in my car that night? A living person? Or something that had not yet let go? From the hallway, I heard the sound of a piano. Moonlight Sonata. Each note was slow and mournful, like the lament of an abandoned soul. I turned around. The room was empty. But I knew I was not alone. I left Jin Hai's room while Moonlight Sonata was still echoing somewhere in my mind. The notes did not come from my ears, but from memory, from the chill creeping along my spine, from a vague yet persistent fear, as if someone were following me step by step. I had seen too many coincidences to continue deceiving myself into thinking this was just an hallucination. Jin Hai had not disappeared. She was right here. She simply no longer existed in the way the living do. That evening, I returned to the villa in the rain. Raindrops hammered against the car windows like hundreds of fingers knocking insistently, urging me to turn back, but I couldn't. Something was pulling me forward, like an invisible thread tightly binding me to the number 6644. As soon as I stepped inside, my phone vibrated. It wasn't a call. It was a message. Do you remember me? I collapsed into a chair. My fingers were trembling so badly that I couldn't type a reply. I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know who I was texting. Who are you? I finally sent. The screen showed, seen. A long time passed. Then the phone vibrated again. I'm the one who believed that love could change everything. I squeezed my eyes shut. Jin Hai's image appeared vividly before me. The girl standing in the rain, soaked through, her eyes empty as she sat in my car. At the time, I had thought she was just a student going through something painful. I had no idea she had died long before that. I decided I had to confront the living, the ones who had left wounds so deep that a soul could not rest. The first person I went to was Train Hun. I went to his office on a gloomy afternoon. The sky was gray, as if it were about to collapse. When he saw me, a flicker of unease crossed Train Hun's eyes, quickly hidden behind his familiar coldness. I have nothing to say to you, he said evenly. But Jin Hai does, I replied, and she's still talking, through the phone. Train Hun's face drained of color. It lasted only a second, but it was enough for me to see the fear. Not fear of me, fear of that name. You're imagining too much, he said, turning away as if to leave. She's dead, Train Hun, I said slowly, and you were the last person with her. He froze. The air between us thickened, heavy and oppressive. At last, he turned back, his gaze evasive. You don't understand. Then make me understand. I stepped closer. Before that phone number comes to your daughter. The words struck like a knife. Train Hun clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. Don't drag my family into this, he growled. Your family has been part of this from the beginning, I replied. From the moment you refused to be decisive. From the moment you let a girl believe she could have everything. He said nothing more. But I knew I had touched the deepest wound. That night, Ho Dung called me. Her voice trembled, struggling to stay calm but unable to hide the panic. JW, Jeong-do is acting strangely again. My heart tightened. What's wrong with her? She's talking to her doll, and calling Jin Hai's name. I went numb. When I arrived at Ho Dung's house, Jeong-do's room was submerged in dim light. The child sat on the floor with her back to me, the doll placed in front of her. Jeong-do? I called softly. She turned her head. That look did not belong to a child. She looked at me and smiled. You're too late. That voice did not belong to Jeong-do. It was Jin Hai's voice. I stepped back, my whole body turning ice cold. In that moment, I understood a horrifying truth. The number 6644 didn't just kill people. It chose someone to continue existing. And this time, it chose a child. English translation, faithful to the original. No additions or omissions. I couldn't sleep after that night. The image of Jeong-do, with eyes that did not belong to a child. kept replaying in my mind like a broken tape. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile again. Not innocent, not pure, but patient, as if it had been waiting for me for a very long time. I knew I didn't have much time left. If Jin Hai had already been able to reach Jiangdu, then the next step would not be mere possession. She wanted to replace her, to live again, and to do that, she needed a family, a place to belong, a position that had once existed in her imagination. And at the center of it all, was still Trang Han. I returned to Jin Hai's old house once more. Just as dusk fell, her mother wasn't home. The place was so quiet that I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my chest. I knew I was doing something I shouldn't, but I had no other choice. The diary lay at the bottom of a drawer, wrapped in a thin, worn piece of cloth. My hands trembled as I opened the first page. Jin Hai's handwriting was neat and carefully formed, as if she was always trying to control everything, even her own emotions. The first rainy day. I read slowly, each word cutting into my skin. Today I met him at the bus stop. It was raining very heavily. I was soaked through. He stopped his car and asked if I needed a ride. His voice was very warm. I don't know why I trusted a stranger so quickly. The next page. He drove me all the way home. He lent me his handkerchief. When he smiled, I felt like I wasn't cold anymore. I closed my eyes. I had seen that moment. The rainy night, the drenched girl, the man stopping his car. But I never knew it was the beginning of everything. In the following pages, Jin Hai's emotions slowly changed. From hope, to waiting, then dependence. I started learning the piano. He said you like listening to Moonlight Sonata. I'm not good at it, but I'll try, if I play well enough. Will he stay? I swallowed hard. She didn't learn the piano out of passion. She learned it for love. A love out of sync, one-sided, and nourished by silences full of misunderstanding. Then came pages where the handwriting grew more chaotic. He doesn't come anymore. He says he's busy. I saw him with his wife. The final page was crumpled, as if it had been clenched tightly in someone's hand for a long time. I don't want to be the other woman, but I don't want to disappear either. If he can't choose me, then no one is allowed to have him. I let the diary fall to the floor. The truth was bare and cold, more chilling than any ghost story. Trang Han had failed to be decisive. Ho Dung had chosen silence. And Jin Hai had chosen to believe in a love with no way out. That evening, I went to see Ho Dung. She sat in the living room, gripping a cup of water so tightly that her knuckles were white. When I placed the diary in front of her, Ho Dung's eyes wavered violently. When did you know about this? Ho Dung asked, her voice hoarse. From the moment I realized your daughter was no longer herself. Ho Dung laughed, a dry laugh, empty of joy. I suspected it, she said. I saw the messages. I saw his eyes every time he answered the phone. But I was afraid. I was afraid that if I spoke out, this family would fall apart. And you thought silence would save everything? I asked. Ho Dung lowered her head. That night, I went to see Jin Hai. The room seemed to grow colder. She said she would leave. She said all she needed was a promise from me. That Trang Han would never come back. Ho Dung swallowed. But then, she changed her mind. She said that if she couldn't have him, then no one deserved to have him. I looked straight into Ho Dung's eyes. And what happened? Tears streamed down Ho Dung's face. We argued. It was raining. She slipped. Her voice broke. I didn't push her, but I couldn't hold on in time. Silence. A heavy silence, thick with guilt. Her phone fell to the ground. Ho Dung whispered. It was still ringing. I closed my eyes. In that moment, I understood what Jin Hai could never let go of. She died in resentment. She died without hearing a final, decisive answer. She died with the phone still in her hand. And that resentment clung to the very last object that connected her to the world. That night, when I returned home, my phone vibrated. A call. I didn't answer. But the voice still came through. No speaker. No signal. You see now? Jin Hai whispered. No one saved me. I collapsed onto the floor, clutching my head. You can't hurt a child. I said, my voice trembled. Jiang-du was innocent. A long silence followed. Then the voice turned cold. I was someone's daughter too. That sentence left me with no way to argue back. I understood one thing very clearly in that moment. If I didn't end this tonight, then tomorrow there would be no one sane enough left to save Jiang-du. Jin Hai's resentment had crossed the boundary of existence. It was no longer just the sorrow of an abandoned soul. It had become a will, a desire to replace, to continue living by taking someone else's place. And the phone was the doorway. I returned to the villa, where everything had begun. It wasn't raining, but the air was thick and heavy, like the moment before a storm. The lights inside the house flickered, even though I knew the electrical system was perfectly normal. I placed the phone on the table. I took a deep breath and pressed the call back button. The ringing went on for a long time, so long that I began to think she wouldn't answer this time. Then that voice came through. Did you call me? No longer a whisper, no longer crying. Jin Hai's voice was now clear, calm to a frightening degree. What do you want? I asked, forcing my voice not to shake. I want to go back, she replied. I just want what should have been mine. Trang Han doesn't belong to me, I said, and Jiang-du belongs to you even less. The laugh rang out, cold, hollow. Are you sure? Jin Hai asked. Without me, would that family really have existed in peace? The house suddenly trembled slightly. From somewhere far away, I heard the sound of a piano. A moonlight sonata. Each note fell like drops of cold water, seeping into every crack of my mind. I saw Jiang-du's image rise before my eyes. The child stood by the stair railing, her gaze unfamiliar, her lips moving faintly with each note. Stop it, I shouted. You're dead, Jin Hai. You can't come back to life by destroying the child. A long silence followed. Then her voice softened. Do you know what it feels like to be abandoned? Jin Hai asked. When the whole world turns its back on you, and the only person you trust chooses silence? I closed my eyes. I do, I replied, and that's exactly why. I can't let you turn Jiang-du into yourself. The phone on the table began to vibrate violently. The screen flickered, distorted characters appeared and disappeared. I felt the room grow dark. The temperature dropped sharply, my breath turning into thin wisps of mist. A figure appeared before me. Indistinct, as if pieced together from darkness and memory. Who do you think you are? Jin Hai said. You're just an outsider too. I'm the only one still standing on Jiang-du's side. I replied, my voice hardened. And if you need someone to cling to, then let it be me. The figure froze. What are you saying? I'll keep this phone line. I continued. I'll answer all your calls. I won't run away, if you never leave the child alone. The space shook violently. The piano stopped abruptly. You won't be able to endure it, Jin Hai whispered. No one can. Maybe, I said, but at least, I've made my choice. A scream tore through the space. The phone on the table shattered. The screen cracked like a spider's web. A flash of light burst out and then vanished. Everything fell into silence. When I opened my eyes, it was already morning. The villa had returned to normal. No piano, no cold air. The phone lay on the table, powered off, broken. Ho Dung called me. Jiang-du had woken up. The child's eyes were normal again. She remembered nothing of what had happened. Trang Han left without a word of explanation. Perhaps that was the only way he could face his guilt. As for me, I changed my phone number. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still hear a ringing sound in my dreams. Not from a phone, but from memory. Because there are calls that, even after being disconnected, leave echoes that last a lifetime. The story of the haunted phone is not merely a horror film, but a chilling warning about what people leave behind when they choose silence, avoidance, or fail to be decisive with their own emotions. Jin Hai was not born in vengeful spirit. She was once a very ordinary girl, capable of love, hope, and pain, but the emotional irresponsibility of adults pushed her to the edge, where death was not the end, but the beginning of another chain of tragedy. From a personal perspective, I believe the greatest fear in this story does not lie in the late-night phone calls or the sudden appearance of ghostly images. What's most haunting is the truth that a vengeful spirit can be born from deeply human emotions. when love is taken lightly, when promises are not kept, when someone is left behind in silence, that pain can spread and engulf even the innocent. Jiang-du is the clearest proof of this. A child who had nothing to do with the mistakes of adults, yet was the one forced to bear the consequences. This shows that what we choose to hide today can become the darkness that haunts the next generation. The lesson here is simple. Be decisive and honest in relationships. Do not let silence become the knife that slowly kills another person. And once harm has been done, face it, because avoidance never makes guilt disappear. It only finds another way to return. What, in your opinion, was the most disturbing element of this story? The phone itself, the vengeful spirit Jin Ha, or the silence of those who remained alive? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments so everyone can share their perspectives. And if you find stories like this meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to Midnight Fear Stories to support the channel and continue this journey with us through future horror tales.